Hey, yep,
Hey, Charles.
we're on.
Yep, we're live, Charles.
Aloha, everyone, and good evening. Welcome to Mel and Charlie Live here on Facebook
Aloha,
Live. Today
Aloha
is Monday
Friday. Aloha Friday.
now. Today's the 15th. Because why? Tomorrow they lift the inter-island travel quarantine. So just be careful. And oh, and by the way, for those of you that are on right now, we're going to ask you to share this. Okay, so let's get that out of the way, and we'll make another announcement later on when we bring our guests on. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just checking my stuff. Make sure it
Let's
all.
get that out
Oh,
of the way,
there
and
we
we'll
go.
make another.
Well, it works. Yay, it works. Yay, yay, yay. Aloha, everyone. Happy Monday to you. It is Monday, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Today is Monday. Oh my. Patsy said it's Tuesday.
Today's Monday,
Monday the 15th.
10-4.
I think I got to shave. What do you think?
Nah, give him that Grizzly Adams look.
Hello, everybody. Well, the cult is gone. They are
Yes.
on their way back to the mainland. They were afraid. They got threats online, and they just got beaten up enough online. They said, "Screw this." I think this is what I don't understand. Okay, so they come here, they violate quarantine, they go to court, they get their cases all dismissed, and we pay their way back.
Yep.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I mean, I'm happy that they're gone, but it's like it's kind of like a get out of jail free card because you were an asshole. So you get you get I hope they give that same kind of benefits to our local residents when they show up uh, in court. But anyway, I'm glad they're gone. They're a pilau. They were not good people. They were
Yeah.
dangerous. Um, but nonetheless, I mean, I, getting them out of here, I guess, was the priority, and that they succeeded. So good. Adios. Good riddance. Bye,
Well,
Felicia. Whatever you
you
want to
know,
say, get them the heck out of here.
a lot is you got to take what's the lesser of two evils, right? You want to get them out. Some people wanting to see a harsher penalty. We still going to end up paying for them if we imprison them. So
Well, I mean,
it,
but I still think that we should have convicted them, have them plead to a lesser charge, and still fine them, even if it's $1,000, even if
but
it's
what if,
two
but
thousand bucks.
but what if they know more money?
Then
And
you
the
put a
next thing you
judgment,
know,
then you get a civil judgment on their wherever the hell they live.
that's the reason why they're here. They got no place else to live.
But he actually thinks he's God, man. The guy actually thinks he's God. Jesus Christ, I tell you. It is
Yeah,
just, I tell you, nothing surprises me anymore, Charlie. Nothing surprises
yeah.
me anymore. Yeah, you just wonder. Hopefully, they never connect with anybody here, and pass the torch, and have some other knucklehead over here think that they're gonna, you know, create this or continue this cult on Kawhi. I hope not.
Yeah,
Um, so we shall
but
see. Anyway,
let's talk about we got it worked out to get testing. We finally did it, and thanks to you, starting the domino effect.
well, it's not just me, Charles. Man, we're a team, buddy. But I just wish we had thought about Doctor T earlier. That's my only regret.
Yeah.
It's my only regret. But he is coming on the 24th next week, Wednesday.
Yes.
Next week, Wednesday at Malama Pono, which is a clinic now at Kukui Grove, right under the old Kauai Athletic Club and the professional building side of
It
Kukui
faces
Grove.
O'Reilly. Faces O'Reilly's.
Yeah,
Yep.
right across from O'Reilly's. They got a huge sign over there. And and I just want to clarify that I know all the posts that's going out and being shared says a drive-through clinic. It's not a drive-through clinic. You do have to make a or an appointment online, and I'm going to post that website right here, right now. but you're gonna get an appointment, and then you're gonna drive up, and then you're gonna go inside the clinic. And I want to thank Misty over at Malama Pono for offering her place and making this happen. And her name is Misty Bailey. See, I always forget her, not forget, but I get her. She get like a hyphenated name, yeah. Misty Bailey Myrick. She's the executive director of Malama Pono, and she
Thank you.
graciously offered her clinic. Now, this is a full-on clinic. This is a like a clinic. There's 3 exam rooms and all of that. So, all of you guys that decide to go get tested will be in good hands. And it's not a drive-through clinic. Let me just make that clear again. it is a walk. It's a walk-in clinic, but we're not taking walk-ins. You gotta have an appointment. So go to, very simple, doctorsofwaikiki.com, and I'll put a link in here right now. www.doctorsofwaikiki.com. Boom. And then you can get your appointment. Takes a quick, you got to upload a picture of your driver's license and your insurance card. And if you need help with that, let Charlie and I know, or find someone, get a kid, like a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, because they're real good at this stuff. But
Well, let me kind of
Wednesday.
let me kind of explain real quickly in a nutshell. You go to the website, it's going to have separate boxes on the website when you pull up Doctors of Waikiki. And you just look for COVID testing Wednesday, June 24th. It's going to have a box by itself. You click on that. The first 3 blank boxes will have your name, first, last, and your email address. Then if you continue down, it's going to ask you more comprehensively, put your first, last, mailing address, email, phone number. Then it's going to ask you some questions about, have you traveled? Do you have any of the symptoms? Have you ever come in contact with someone with COVID? And then it's going to give you an option. What test are you looking for? You can look for either antibody, nasal swab, and then it'll say none. I chose both, okay? Then it's going to ask you to upload there's going to have 4 blocks. It says front and back of your insurance card and front and back of your driver's license. When you click on the first on your insurance card, front of your insurance card, it will open up a column that seems rather confusing. On the very top, looks like a laptop computer. Just click on that. Then you'll notice a screen, they'll say drag and drop, and it'll have an X right in the middle of the box. If you hit that X, the next box will open up with take a photo, your library, your photo library, or file. So it's going to ask you 3 areas. Where's this picture of your insurance card? This says take photo. Put it down, you line it up, take it, save, and it's going to upload the image. You do that for the back of the card, the front of your license, back of your license. Then you go to the very end. It's going to ask you about your employer. You can put your employer, but this is not going to go to your employer. It's just, they just have a question in this box. Just put your employer name down and click bingo. Now I did, and then it'll confirm your appointment, because when you first start, they'll ask you, they have a whole set of times, what's ever left open. I got at 10:30. My appointment is at 10:30 in the morning. Now, what you need to be careful of is that when it asks you that, make sure you get a confirmation back. Make sure you get a confirmation back that you got an appointment. And then once that's done, and I did talk to Dr. Tchaikovsky today, just to make sure, because there's some questions about HMO. He said under the Affordable Cares Act that runs out at the end of the month on the 30th. So they still have money to pay for the testing. The only thing that you probably pay out of pocket would be the co-payment of $20. And so there were some questions about Kaiser. He says they're doing it right now, and they haven't had any, they have approval from Kaiser. All Kaiser plans have been approved. Whatever card that you have, you'll be good to go. You're not required to have a doctor's appointment. A doctor's referral, because guess what? The one that's giving you the test is the doctor, which is kind of convenient, okay? So Mel asked me earlier, just to let you know, the reason why I'm taking it, because I live on the west side of Kauai. Number one, I want to see if I have antibodies. That means I came in contact with it. And if I don't, I want to see if I'm COVID free or not. Then I'm going to take the nasal. If I do have antibodies, for statistical purpose, that's good because I live on the west side and I probably came in contact with it unknowingly on the west side. So on a map right now, for people of Kauai, no one knows where these things are popping up. No one knows from the ones that happened from before. If I do come out and I do have antibodies, I will let you know, Mel, that you can post it that, hey, I got antibodies. I got it somewhere on the west side. So at least on the data, it shows the west side had it out there. Because right now, we don't know if the west side had it or not. Okay?
Awesome. I know some of you are wondering how come you guys, more than one person has an appointment at the same time. They have more than one doctor that's going to be here.
Yep.
And they can accommodate quite a few. So obviously you're going to show up, you're going to confirm your identification, and then you're going to go in and get your finger prick test. And it's not a problem. They're going to accommodate everybody that they can. And if your antibody test is positive, then they'll go ahead and do a swab test on you to see if the virus is active. But I think for the most part, most of us anyway are just interested in getting that antibody test to see. There are a lot of you, and we've heard from so many of you that believe you actually had the virus early on, back in December, January, February, and you guys are concerned and want to get that peace of mind. So this is going to be an awesome day, and my insurance don't cover. They take credit card.
Yes, they
I'm
do.
sure they do. I'm sure
Yes,
they do.
they do. Yes, they do.
So again, I know there was somebody else. I know Charlie covered the copay. You do have to pay your copay, depending on what coverage you have. Some medical coverages don't have, but you can count on about a $20 copay for the testing. So,
You know, I'm telling everybody, I really don't care how much it costs, because just the fact that I'm going to take the test is for my peace of mind, and I want everybody. This is a decision that Charlie Young is making, aside from helping the West Side, because I live on the West Side. I want to make sure that we're not in an era living under false pretenses that it's lurking around here. If I have the antibodies, that's the only place I could have caught it, on the West Side, because I've been locked down all this time. And the only time I've gone out is to the stores here on the West Side. But if I don't have it, it's a good likelihood that many others haven't gotten it yet too, that we're pretty much free. So one way or the other, the truth of the matter is, it's just to help. That's all it is, just to help.
So we want to get as many of you out there as possible. You know, you folks, a bunch of you have been asking for this for a long time, and I'm hoping that that we get a good show. Who's paying the team to come out? Everything is covered. There's insurance will cover the test except for the copay, and the rest is don't worry about it. They're coming over, and again, I want to thank Dr. T as well and his crew that are coming and helping us here on Kauai.
Well, let's be upfront with them, Mel. I'm going to be upfront, okay? I'll take the hit on this. We are going to make arrangements for them to come because they're coming with a team that's going to benefit all, okay? And hopefully things work out. And if it doesn't, then I'm prepared to cover the cost, because I don't want any of you out there to cover the cost. This was something that Mel and I wanted for a long time. So just letting you know that. And so, like Mel said, it's covered. Don't worry about it.
We have Mason Chock waiting in the waiting room tonight. He's going to be sharing with us a legislative update and some stuff going on at the county council level. So we're going to let Mason in right now. We'll talk about the testing afterwards. But again, when you see that post, go ahead and share it. We'll post it up again tonight. Look at that good-looking bugger boy, I tell you. Jeez, look how young he looks.
Hey, aloha.
Disgusting. So disgusting. Charlie.
Yes.
So
yes.
young.
Well, I used to be 12 years old at one time. Yeah.
Huh?
were never on a calendar.
Yes, we were never on a calendar. You know that kind of calendar.
Oh no, 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 no.
Hey,
No,
Chip has to
It's
get,
not
has to get
anything.
them hanging in her wall. Chip in the calendar. I want to show everybody this picture.
One
You
of
know,
my
Let's
one
not
of my
make this show
coworkers
about that.
never took it down.
huh?
One of my coworkers never took it down.
One of her coworkers never took it down, and he's been working at the court for a very long time.
Well, they shouldn't look at what they see now.
well,
I
brothers,
agree.
I used to I made a calendar one time, but just Staples was too bigger than my picture. You know, it's too big for the picture.
Uh,
Well, look at that.
Thank
Angie
you, brother.
says
Yeah,
everyone that comes on the show looks young, except us, John.
except me
Except
and
us.
Mel.
Oh, geez. I'm gonna color my hair. I am. I'm gonna
Yeah.
color my hair. Anyway, thank you, Mason. Mason Chock, Council Member Mason Chock, is agreed to come on tonight and share with us some stuff that's going on in a county council. Give us some legislative updates and just share, man. And then we'll take the questions as it comes. Look, Alyssa, thank you. She said we're all handsome. Oh,
hello,
make me
Lisa.
feel better. Yeah. So, Mason, take it away, my friend. Take it away.
Okay, mahalo, mahalo. Hey, first of all, it's an honor to be on the Mel and Charlie show. So I appreciate the time
You.
that you offered and invited me here. But in all seriousness, thank you for, this is a great service for first of all to the community. And I don't get to see all of the shows, but I know that you folks, people look forward to this. They look for the information that you folks have to share, and a lot of it, which is what we need, right, is people to engage and talk to each other, help each other out ultimately. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for continuing this
Thank
discussion,
you.
this dialogue. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Last week when you called Mel, I thought, what we talk about, since it's sort of hot off the press, is how the Kauai economic recovery strategy has been coming along, the task force, how I got involved in it, and then I actually had the chance to, I guess, moderate or lead one of the sectors, and then also, it kind of directly correlates to the CARES Act funds that the council just passed last week. So that is just going underway here, and I can share with you what I know. Just given the, I guess, the understanding that it's just one perspective, from my seat, and then as a participant. So I'm happy to share that. In fact, the Office of Economic Development shared a PowerPoint with me that gave me permission to share some of that with you. So I could do, it's just a few slides. I could do that really quickly, and then of course can get into some questions too. How's that sound?
Sounds good, my friend. You
Yeah.
should be able to share your screen. I'm gonna change the view so we can get. There you go. Oof. Big, big Mason. There we go.
How's that? You can see that.
It's a little. You gotta slide them to the right. There we go.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna put this on, play from the start there. Yeah. So the Kauai Economic Strategy team came together. The mayor, I think it was about mid-May, mid-March, right when this thing was coming online. So I think, I want to thank him for the foresight to see, what, this is going to take a big chunk out of our economy, and we got to get prepared for it. So, as early as April, I was called to participate from Nalani at the Office of Economic OED. And really, it's called Cursed, and it's to provide recommendations and actions about what we can do to respond immediately to COVID-19 pandemic. We've taken a lot of those steps already, so I'll share some of those. But then also, what I found really interesting, and what was interesting for me that I really wanted to tune into, was when Derek came on, when Mayor said, "Hey, let's think about the future and what we can do better. If we're to like start off again and press a restart button, what can we do?" And all of us, I know, have experienced Kauai in a different way. Some, ways that we haven't experienced for in years. Just looking at the traffic access opportunities to get to even where we never had in the past, to go to the beach. So a lot of this was like, how can we balance our economy moving forward? Because we know that our tourism industry is going to take a big hit. Even if we open the doors wide open, there'd be huge hesitation for visitors to come in. So um, that was really the intent. I just am sharing the 8 sectors that was invested in: agriculture, business, construction, public works, education, finance, public health, of course, future and technology and tourism. And so ultimately, what this was made up of was some initial recommendations. We have 45 recommendations that came forth from CURST, and I'll have another slide that I can share some of those with you folks. And then currently where it is right now is those recommendations went to the administration and they reviewed it. They have it up on a site, and I'll share that site so people can come engage in it. Because right now where it is really trying to get more feedback from the community about it. So there are some themes that I just wanted to share that came out of it. The first was definitely we got to support our local businesses. All right, I mean, they're the ones hurting. We're seeing businesses and restaurants closing right before our eyes. So what can we do to support them now? There seemed to be a lot of focus on the need for communication. And what I mean is communication around across sectors and also intergovernmentally. So you folks know how important that is. Mel, with your background and as our former chair, the need for us to be able to work with our state and also our federal delegation. So that was a big thing, something that we're investing in already. Across a couple of sectors, broadband became a real big issue or request. So, I think initially with and I was able to chair the education committee, and this was like really high on their list. They said, how can we continue to engage with our students and our youth productively, and because so many people around the island don't have access, whether it's because of their location or they don't have devices. I know many of us have been tuning into the challenges that we have just around broadband. We've experienced some downs even before the pandemic. So this is something we got to look at, and it's critical if we want to look at diversifying industries on Kauai, and of course the long-term need to diversify our economy. So I'll move to this one. These are the recommendations, and I can share this with you folks too, but they're located on a website right now that was formed by the county, and it's called kauaiforward.com. And if you go to kauaiforward.com, it's got pretty much everything as it relates to the pandemic, but also the economic recovery aspects. And you can look under strategies, and all 45 of these are listed. I thought what I would do now is just share real briefly, because I'm more tuned into what the education committee agreed to, and so I'll just talk about those real quickly. And just the other disclaimer is, of course, is, as you know, the county is not responsible completely for education. That's a state function with the Department of Education. So we took sort of our approach to, like, what are the gaps that need to be filled from the county level that we can address. The first recommendation is improve the communication with other education organizations. And so we really thought that, to have someone on the ground as a liaison between all of the partners who are focused on education was really important. And then the second one was to leverage county facilities to support student learning by creating neighborhood hubs. And this was a recommendation from Sarah Stein, and she's looking at, if we get back to school and how we get back to school. From the community standpoint, we know that access is already an issue, and that the numbers of students to get in one room is kind of an issue. So how can we, if by chance, and I cannot speak for the DOE, we come back to like a hybrid schedule where some days they are indeed at home and need access, or a place for our students to be at to get onto the computer and so forth. So that's just one of the ideas that came forward. We thought it could be multi-use at this point. And so it's high on the list as well. Of course, providing more devices is an issue, and hotspots for families. There's been talk about putting together a roaming bus to provide Wi-Fi in these hard to get to areas. And then number 4 is provide directory of services, sort of like a clearinghouse for information. One of the things I chair the Kauai Resiliency Project, and you folks have had some meetings on this, yeah, on this show about the need for supporting mental health uh, for our youth, but also for everyone at this time because it's so difficult. So one of the things we started to do was to partner with the DOE at getting information out. The Grab and Go Meals now has information where every family can get to and access services, telehealth, and these are local services on island. So, we thought because out of that was like really important for us to have one place where people can go to and get whatever they need. And so this the Kauai4.com tries to attempt to service that need as well. And then the last two was supporting new and existing educational programs. There was a lot of talk about how can we expand sort of the traditional classroom needs. What about place-based or project-based learning? How can we expand those? Because they certainly offer the opportunity to be outdoors and maybe even smaller groups as youth, and how we can integrate that into our current system. So how can we help those organizations external from the DOE to get on board? And then the last number 6 was a suggestion by some of the leaders, like the chancellor at KCC and DOE, the superintendent. Like let's not stop here. Let's continue because our youth are so important. They need us so much at this time. How can we continue this conversation? So there are plans right now for us to continue to meet. My committee was made up of about 15 individuals. Like I said, the KCC chancellor, we had charter school representation. Then we had sort of career development. KEDB talked about how they can support, and then also some of our other programs, nonprofits. So it was good. We will continue to meet as this develops, and like I said, there's many recommendations here, and I can get those to you folks to take a look at. You can also find them on the website. Oh, no, I cannot move my screen. Oops. Oh, okay. So some of these things have already happened, like I said. So the county teamed up with KGEFCU to create the emergency loan program for businesses. We also been organizing webinars for Kauai residents to understand the financial resources available. And then the Chamber of Commerce has created campaigns to support local business, encourage people to shop local. More than ever right now, we gotta figure out how we can help each other. So the Kupuna Care program was something that was started initially when we knew the farmers markets were going to close. Those CSA boxes continue to go out, and it's so important to support the Sunshine Market. So that's kind of where we are with that. I just wanted to wrap up some of what we talked about and what the next steps are. Looks like I might be going backwards. I don't know, you guys. Oh, so the CARES Act fund, really what this translates to and what the council passed last week was the funding that came down to the federal government and then through the state. 28.9 million, close to 28 million, 28.7 million. And there's basically 3 pots to the CARES Act funding that I want to share with everyone. The first is direct assistance. So everything from the food distributions, the meal programs, mental health initiatives, small business loans, business support. Those were the ones that we invested in, and that was for 9.2 million. The second pot we were calling economic and supply chain resiliency. So agriculture, we know, is such a big industry that we need to support moving forward. How can we support them with grants? Of course, tourism. And then what I'm interested in was this Rise to Work program. So they're kind of similar to what I call the Civilian Conservation Corps that we once had on Kauai. But this is really to help our businesses and our nonprofits. If you need help, let's get the people working for the next 6 months. And then also the last pot of funding is the response and preparedness, right? For the next wave. You folks have been talking a lot about those things, like how are we going to prepare here on Kauai? And there's a lot happening on the state level. They have a lot of the lion's share of this funding. So we're hoping that they will respond, of course, to those needs as it relates to the visitors industry and how they transport here when we do decide to open up. But what do we need here on island once they're here? So we've talked about a lot of different things in that response. And so I have those lists. That pot of money is 8.3. So the first pot is 9.2, the second pot 11.1, and the last 8.3. And here's the catch: is we just got this funding, approved it last week. We got to spend every single penny before December 31st, or we give it back to the federal government. And so there was a lot of interest, I think, at first to invest in infrastructure needs, but as you both know, going through even under emergency situations, going through procurement and also going through permitting is not the easiest thing to do. So, the decision was made, let's get this out to the community as much as possible. And so what people can find on the website of kauai4.com is also how an RFP, a section for RFPs, and that just was loaded up last night. And all of the funding, which is the lion's share of this funding here, will go in that direction of different RFPs for each one of the sectors and all of these priorities we just talked about. So by June 24th, the deadline for the RFP is due, and they intend to expend the funds or get the funds out by July 17th. So quick turnaround for us. I just wanted to share what the website looks like. So just encouraging people to go there. And if there's a feedback form, if people want to and can, to offer some feedback to the recommendations too. Okay, I'm gonna take us off this presentation.
Mason, can you go, Mason, can you go back to that page with the numbers again? I just had one quick question that
this is the wrong one. This is an old one.
Okay,
so I gotta go back to the other one here. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I'm sorry. This was an initial budget that we looked at, and I placed it in here on unknowingly. But go ahead and ask the question. I think I just on the third bucket, response and preparedness for the next wave. The first item, tiny home construction for houseless sheltering if another wave. Is there an update to that, or did that make the final cut? Yeah, that did make the final cut. I believe they're actually putting a group together to look at that even closer. We know that what we've done or have had to do throughout this pandemic is to, open up some of our parks. That Lidgate and other parks are being served for our houseless. This has been something I know that you've talked about over the years and wanting to do. But how do we transition?
I got crucified for it, man. But I guess
this is what it takes. It takes a pandemic.
Yeah, I guess. What I'm questioning is where it says if another wave. So in other words, if we don't get another wave, do we not pursue that funding? I mean, that's in this sheet, it's 2 million. Are we looking at tiny home construction only if we get a second wave?
No. I believe this when we asked the question, posed the question, I think Councilmember Coley asked us at last week's meeting if this is going to move forward. It will move forward. The tiny home construction is something we've been talking about for years, and that we have the the new project next to Puoloke, Kealaula, that's opening up integrated services. So I think that model is the model that I'd like to see happen across the island, maybe regionally. So starting where we are right now, centrally, but certainly on the west side and also northeast, to transition people from their cars into or even from the parks into tiny homes because they need that stability and foundation. And it's safer, right? We get a second wave, not if, when, and hopefully we can control it in the way, that we need to as it develops.
Mason, question. Um, a lot of times when we're going through projects like this, and we try to focus in on the project and move it forward, there always has this attachment to consultants, right? In a lot of the things we do. Doesn't I think what a lot of people get, I don't say irritated, it's more angry, is they look at the amount that's spent on consultants. As a county, I'm sure we have professionals in the county system that can do a pretty damn close job, unless there's some ruling that bars the fact that they cannot perform a consultant's work. But trying to, recoup the costs and save out a little on that, because it seems like we spend an unload of money on consultants, and it kind of gets unnerving after a while. And this will, it's like a wave. It'll crash and then it'll come back up again. And then sometimes they'll come back at the worst opportune time where people are getting really, really irritated over the fact. Do you think that there is bodies within the county system that can maybe fill those slots? Especially
I think that, like who?
Like engineering type positions within like public works, instead of having to out and get consultants, that it can be done from inside.
Yeah, I think, my answer would be that yes, we have some really qualified people, individuals, talented people in the county. I've come to learn that and, admire them. Even the planning department, who initially hired for their community plans and the updates, initially hired consultants. They discontinued the use of consultants because they understood that they know, Kauai better. And so you've seen some of that transition happen. I do think that there is a capacity issue in certain areas when it comes to this. Many of you are, it's pretty well known that we've had a hard time filling some positions at the county. And I hate to go too down a rabbit hole, but that's been a big issue. So I think capacity has been a challenge. So when it does come to the council, you can see that there's a lot of scrutiny now. Like, why can't we do this ourselves? Why do we have to hire out? And that is the answer that I often get is, we'd like to, we don't have the bandwidth to do it. So we have to get out if we want to do it in a timely manner. But I think that's why it requires us to really always ask the questions and be there.
Okay.
I just wanted to, Tamara Duterte posted that they are currently working on getting Wi-Fi in all of our county buses. So that, could be utilized as hotspots too as well. So that's good news. Thanks, Tamara, for sharing that with us. And also, Tyson asked if the website, KauaiForward.com, lists all the members of the recovery team on there. Do you know?
That is a good question. I do not know. I have not seen it. I've gone on it a few times. I have not seen all of the members, but I don't think that it's it should be a secret. So I can tell you that they were initially, selected by the administration, by the Office of Economic Development, the mayor's office. But they also asked me in my education committee, who else do you think needs to be here? I invited some people that I thought could contribute to the discussion. And then, I'd say also, the feedback form is really a sort of the transition of needing to get everyone else's feedback on it. And if there's interest, I'd say if there's people interested, at least in my committee, send me a note, because I don't think our work is going to be done. I think that we're going to have to come back and revisit. As I said, one of the goals was for us to stay together and continue to kind of leverage ourselves, the resources that we all bring, so that we can get out of this better.
Yeah, I know a lot of the people are posting about keeping the money on Kauai, and as much as we possibly can, all that CARES money, if we can, just hire local contractors, local businesses. I think I gotta believe I'm sure that's the goal of all the committees. Unfortunately, Kauai is limited as far as what we can provide in some way, but I would assume that the efforts will be to keep that money locally and stimulate the economy in that sense.
I agree. I think everyone wants that outcome as well. One of the things that I think we will be challenged with is, of course, the time frame. We got 6 months to spend $28 million, and so can we do it? It's a big question that I have. But because a lot of the funding will be going out to the community in the form of grants, that we're going to need to rely on our nonprofits. So I think the message needs to be sent broadly. Hey, this can be a circular, benefit for all of us. Let's get together. Let's make sure we hire local. Let's make sure that we support each other throughout this, because the more dollars we can keep here, the better. So I would wholeheartedly agree on that. And I was in the webinar today on the RFP with Nick Corson, and there were questions about, can we, can out of off island organizations apply for this, or can we hire off island, or should, and it was discouraged. So I appreciated that. It's like, no, every dollar that we have here, this is for Kauai. The state has this big, $800 million that they got. So every county got some, and this is for us. So we need to invest in us here.
Honolulu got a big chunk, and of course, rightfully so. They're they got almost 1 million people there. But yeah, whatever we can do now on the website, Mason. Is there? I apologize, I never went to the website, but is there the instructions, I guess, for nonprofits? Is there an application for the RFPs or all that on the website that these people can get to?
Absolutely. I took a look at it today, and there was an application. There's the RFP, and for each sector, what they're looking for, and the minimum amount that you can apply for, and the maximum. And I will say, what I gathered from that in the webinar was, there's a minimum of at least 40,000. But if the whole budget, for instance, is for mental health is $1 million, they're not asking you to limit yourself. They may not give you the full amount that you asked for, but I think that what they're interested in is really looking at what is the long-term takeaway that you're trying to invest in, so that they can make good decisions. It's a competitive bid. Departments have taken pieces of each of this grant funding and are going to be overseeing that. And so you would expect that with the competitive bid, a committee will be formed to make the decision on selecting those.
Well, people, I know a lot of you on this call are nonprofits, or you work for nonprofits, or you're private practitioners, you're independent contractors. This is your opportunity to, and I asked Mason to, bring it up tonight, because the competition has started, and that's really what it is. And if you have what is being required or requested, please, by all means, apply for the funds and get it done. We talk about keeping the funds on Kauai. Well, then we on Kauai got to apply for the funds. Maybe there's some funding for a nightly Facebook Live informative show, Charlie. Maybe we can go apply for that grant there. Thanks, Mason. That was very, very informative, and appreciate the work that you guys have done. I know it's not easy. You give me $28 million as myself personally, I can spend it in 6 months, not a problem. But when you're confined to the parameters of the grant, it's a little difficult. And to not just to get the money, but to procure and spend the money, it's not that simple. So good luck to all of you guys on the committee.
Some have said, and I've been in the tourist industry prior to police work. In fact, right out of high school, and I'm still in it now, being a security provider contractor on Kauai. My question is to you, Mason, has it been discussed? Because we brought up the same idea that you talked about, and that is, with COVID, we have pretty much scrubbed ourselves clean, and we have turned back time a little to reassess how we move forward, maybe in a more logical way that can benefit us from taking away us from all the mistakes made in the past. So having said that, the jobs that's tethered or attached to tourism, has the committees looked at it to see where it can untether itself? Because it seems like everything fell flat because of tourism, right? And it seems like the majority of all jobs is attached to tourism. Did they do any kind of study to look at, what jobs are out there is not attached, and how far can it go right now? Because we're talking about opening up our economy, right? So until the tourists come back, we're probably gonna have to depend on those who are not tourist related.
Yeah, I think that that chord is a very difficult chord. It's a tight woven chord for us. The visitors industry is integrated just about to everything in our economy in one way, shape, or form, and so I think it's a hard one to unravel for sure. I can tell you that we've been talking about the diversification of our economy for years, right? It's like we've known we cannot rely on just our visitors and hospitality industry, and this situation is pushing us. It's not giving us an opportunity. We know we have to do something different in order to survive, and so the investment in industries that we already know, like agriculture, right, is something huge that we need to fortify. We've talked so much over the years on how we can do that and how we should do that, and so we really need to broaden that. I think we've talked so much about education even, and how we can encourage in this day and age a technology industry and support entrepreneurism on Kauai that we can no longer look away from, and we have to. And that's why I think you're seeing some of these recommendations like broadband and others really wanting to be invested in, and how we can expand on it. So, I think that it's going to require a lot more. The government, I think, is a partner in that, and we really need to encourage sort of how it is we're investing in new technologies and new industries here on Kauai. That being said, I think first things first right now, right? Like you said, and we've turned the clock back a little bit. And so certainly we do not need to grow back with the hospitality industry as we've done in the past. And I think that we have the opportunity right now. And, the good thing is we kind of started that opportunity because we had the floods, and, we're no stranger to crisis. So, a good example is the North Shore Shuttle. Because we don't have at the county level sort of the oversight to limit rental cars, at least not yet. Where there are other ways, we got to work around some of those hills or obstacles so that we can manage moving people and moving tourists in particular to where they want them. Should there be limitations to how many tourists go to what side of the island, there could be a way for us to manage that, even through permitting, so we know. And we're not being overwhelmed by it. And so those are the things I think that not only will help the residents, right, with the quality of life that we all, miss and want to retain, but I think it'll actually help the visitors industry as well, because it's a quality experience that we're looking for. So I think that the government has a role in it. I think we can back ourselves out of it to a degree, but I think it'll take many years for us to really see the light in terms of what will be that emerging, industry. I think, as I said, I think to keep our rural nature, our rural lifestyle, agriculture is really one of those key pieces. And so how do we expand on that in a way that really finds the balance? I think there are ways. I mean, I think there are, you're seeing this next generation step up and create, examples, little models of that. I mean, one of my dreams is that we reinstate some of these ancient practices. The fish pond is dear to my heart. We cleared Alekoko. Hopefully we can get it back to operational level, and a sustainable agricultural resource. So we gotta partner It's interesting though. You talk about investing every dollar here. I was doing a presentation for the Kauai Business Association, Kapaa Business Association the other day, and one person is selling flowers, and the other person is got their consultant business, and then one person is saying, well, the Kauai Marine more. He's like, you know what? Since this thing happened, I'm like more busy than I ever been. Everybody cleaning their yard, everybody's practicing, doing landscaping. These things are, I cannot keep up, and others are just completely struggling. And so that what we talked about was like, how can we help each other? How can we leverage each other? In our partnership like the Kapaa Association, so that I can help you, and you can help me, and sort of move that income around the table, and help each other. And I think that those are the kinds of partnerships that are going to be necessary until we find all the answers necessary.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about that a lot, especially when we talk about agriculture, that, we all got to support the local farmers. We all got to support the local ranchers. It may cost us a little more, but at the end of the day, the long-term benefit is there. My fear is it's almost like an addiction. Tourism, it's an addiction because, for the most part, it's easy money. It's kind of autopilot. Tourists are going to come. Yeah, we market the crap out of this state, but even if the marketing was to all stop, it wouldn't really necessarily decrease the number of visitors proportionately. In other words, if we cut the marketing budget in half, I don't believe it'll cut the visitors in half. I just don't. Kauai is a destination. Hawaii is a destination. Kauai is even becoming more of a destination than the other islands. So my fear is that while right now it's the buzzword, yeah, diversification and support the local economy. Once that, the addict, you get that taste. Once you get the taste of tourism, once we realize you start opening the gates and the tourists start coming back, then it'll be almost normal to just go along with it because because it pays the bills, and that's what I'm afraid of. And we really, and this is more directed to the state. We really got to start focusing on allowing the counties to decide for themselves what they want to do. You look at the traffic right now. My wife and I drove in this morning to work, and there was no contraflow. I didn't even, there's no contraflow, but you didn't need contraflow. You really didn't need it. 40 miles an hour all the way in, and no rental cars. I understand. And my wife said, yeah, but you got to have some tourism. Absolutely. But do we need all of those thousands and thousands and thousands of vehicles on the roads every day? And that is where it's going to take some tough decisions. And I know the visitor industry doesn't want to hear it, but we are overpopulated on this island with visitors. And this is the opportunity for the reset. And I'm hoping that the state will allow the counties to dictate their future and allow some control over the capacity of their individual islands. I don't see that happening, but that's what we're going to push for this upcoming session. Me and Charlie, getting the state to hear our pleas that let the counties have some sort of home rule, so we can determine what's right for Kauai.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree, and I mean, this is not damaging any of our legislators, the federal. I really appreciate and I think we wouldn't have this 28 million if it wasn't for our federal delegation and our state delegation. They've been working hard on it. But I think if there's anything that this pandemic has taught us, it's that we need to we have to take care of ourselves. We need to be more self-sufficient. And on a local governmental level, I think that rings true as well. And so if we can have some of the throttle points as it relates to our visitors industry moving forward, I think that would be helpful. And ultimately, it'll be better for the state too. So some of that, I think, intergovernmental communication that we talked about earlier is really key, and that we problem solve together moving forward. I look forward to those things. I think these next 2 years, we just passed our budget, and we're okay right now. Because we really saved for a rainy day, in the previous years, Mel. But next budget is going to be tough. You know, it's going to be tough for everyone, but it's going to be tough for the county. I know. So we have to start now. Yeah.
There's a ton of questions about about all kinds of stuff, but I'm going to encourage all of you out there to reach out to your council members via email. I kind of wanted to stay on target with the COVID, the impacts, the budget, like you just mentioned. Like you said, this fiscal year coming up should be, I mean, obviously it'll be all right. It's the one after that. But what can people expect as far as, I know we had our Arrow Launcher, Chair Connoisseur on and talked about the budget, but that was pre-passage. Now it's official. What can people expect in the way of any changes, property tax? I know Arrow talked about um, deferring all proposals for tax increases except for that one category. But anything else that occurred that
Yeah, you know, we passed a operating budget of about 250 million. We took out and actually I have to credit the mayor. He submitted a budget, and then we went immediately into this crisis, and so he pulled that budget back right away. And so when we were able to kind of sit down and talk about it, uh, all increases got taken off the table. I mean, fee increases. They're looking at parking lot fees. They're looking at all kinds of increasing all kinds of fees specific to departmental needs. None of those got all of those got taken off the table. Hiring freeze, no more new vehicles freeze. So I think we really scaled back what we needed to, and I think we did it in a way that is thinking towards the next budget already. Like if we save now, we don't, we'll be better off to make the next budget. So essentially, I was pleased that there are no property taxes outside of the residential investors. These are, $2 million properties or higher, that for people who do not live here and it's an empty house. So, I think like you said before, we're going to have to be thinking about how we manage this island. We got to be very courageous as well, in addressing and getting straight to the point on some of these challenges that have been before us. And right now we have that opportunity because we're in an emergency, to have these conversations.
Mason, how does it look right now with, and you just said it, these challenges, budget wise, and you've got pretty much all of the county workers under some type of collective bargaining agreement that may even call for increases. How is it being met? What's your take on it? Because I don't know what the language is. I don't know what the kick-in raises are and all of that. But I think right now, I don't think anything can take place. But yet I know some will rely heavily on their collective bargaining agreement to be adhered to. And the bottom line is, if we don't have the money, we just don't have the money. But we'll have to get them someplace, and it's probably going to fall on the people of this county. That some right now they got their back so backed up against the wall. It's not going to be an easy task to ask for money.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and Mel knows this. 80% of our budget is in our workforce for the county, and so I mean, if there is going to be a need to look at a budget cut, I mean, this is automatically where we will inevitably need to look. I mean, it wouldn't be my first choice, but we have to consider it, and we are, I want to say, somewhat subjected to the collective bargaining because we are not part of that process, so it happens. And I want to say, majority of them already kind of passed before we got into the pandemic, so those are already approved. So my hope is that the relations between our unions and the negotiators, the stakeholders that get together annually to have these conversations, take seriously into consideration the future, because you can only go so far in this climate, and so you want to increase salaries more, well, then somewhere else will get cut,
Yeah.
and then that could eventually, and the state, as you heard, is, they've even considered furloughs to get to the number that they need to. So it's a real thing, and those are the things I think that you will start to see talked about moving into the future next 2 years.
Well, there's always a tough nut to crack, you know. It's always a tough nut to crack. But I made that statement probably a couple of months ago now, where I said, the unions should step forward. I'm talking about the government union should step forward now and say, hey, you know what? We're in this together, and we will, defer our raises until we can get back on our feet. I mean, that's what leaders do. And I don't know if that's happened or not. I know I'm probably pissed off a bunch of union people, but at the end of the day, when you look at all of the numbers of people that are not working, many of our people still haven't received an unemployment check or a stimulus check. I don't even know how they're making it. So I think to for the unions to step up, and if we all got to be in this together, that includes everybody, not just the unemployed and the underprivileged. It's everybody, and I'm hoping that they do that. I hope that they lead and lead the whole charge in this, working together. And and I'm not saying to forego, I'm just saying to defer. And once we get back on our feet, then we revisit. But I mean, that's just really what working together is. And there's a lot of people that haven't been to work for 3 months. 3 months, and just and we hear it, Charlie, and I'm sure you too, Mason. I'm sure you hear it a lot. And I feel sorry for those people that, and there's not a damn thing they can do about it. You can't even talk to a human being at unemployment. And yes, I don't know, 75% of the claims have been paid, but there's still a lot of people that haven't. And those are the ones that reach out. And I feel sorry for them. So uh, I wish you guys well going forward, man. It's going to be a tough, tough, tough time, tough
Let,
time.
Well,
let me
that's the future council now. Whoever gets elected is
Well, there's
I
a
know we're
bunch
right
of
at
the
the time.
candidates.
So
There's a bunch of the candidates on tonight, so I'm hoping that they're listening and they're taking notes, because it really, the work begins after inauguration, and the campaign is fun, but once you get in that seat, and it's going to be a tough 2 years. In fact, it's going to be a tough next 10 years. I believe it's going to be a while. And with the economy and opening up, with the flights opening up tomorrow, I don't know when the mainland flights, the quarantine for the mainland flights will be lifted. I think this is the trial period now with the inner island. I think the governor's probably waiting to see what happens. But once we open up the visit industry, and that's why when we talk about limiting cars, when we talk about uh, capacity, we got to act fast, because once that floodgate is open, it's over. And then we're right back in a situation where not only we got too many damn tourists, we got COVID running around as well. So it just amplifies the problem. So I'm hoping that we can get through this
Hey,
without too
Mason,
much.
um, can you repeat the website, or who has the website for nonprofits to find requests for funding? Yeah.
it's KauaiForward.com. Yeah, forward.com. And take a look under the economic recovery strategy, and take a look at the RFPs by sectors. And I think that there's even some contact information and a webinar that was shown today by Nalani folks that are articulated how people can move and navigate through the RFP process. But they have to hurry. I mean, I wouldn't delay, because as I said, the deadline for the RFPs is June 24th. So coming right up, maybe 10 days or so. So they gotta have an idea and how they want to move forward. And I always say, at least from a grant reviewer standpoint, when you can form the partnerships, really well in a proposal, that's the ones that really are appealing to me. So
Okay. KauaiForward.com. Yeah, one of the the viewers are asking about that because they want to follow up as quickly as possible. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think you folks have Nalani folks coming up shortly this week or so, and
Tomorrow night, huh?
yeah, because
Yeah.
I told
Tomorrow,
them, I don't want to steal your thunder. I'll introduce some things, but you guys can go into the details with them on the RFP. I think they'll have a lot of information to share on that.
Okay.
yeah, tomorrow we'll have the mayor and Nalani to talk about basically recovery in general. But we do want to get some specifics as far as this because time is of the essence. As Mason said, the 24th is the deadline. And if you know anything about RFPs, it's typically a very complex application. I mean, basically, you got to sell yourself, sell your service.
Mhm.
So hopefully, you guys are all gonna right after this show tonight. You guys head over there and then start it out. And then if you have any questions, come back tomorrow night and you get to ask Nalani and the mayor straight up what it is.
What does RFP stand for?
What does the RFP stand for? It means request for proposals. So basically, they're asking for your proposals of what you can offer in those sectors. So if you come under any of those sectors, whether it's agricultural, education, any of those sectors, and you have a product or a service, they want to know about it and they want to know how you can help. So go for it. Go for it.
I can share just a couple of them, based on
Sure.
the CARES Act budget. The food support service and grants, 1.5 million in grants. Nonprofit economic loss support grants. This is child care support, community services, 1.2 million. Mental health and domestic violence prevention grants to nonprofits, 1 million. Small business loans and other business support grants, 5 million. And then agricultural assistance grants, 2 million. Some tourism grants, economic diversification recovery support program grants, 3 million. Then the Rise to Work programs is for 4 million. So quite a bit of money going out there.
And I believe the minimum grant is 50 grand. So, there's a lot of money out there for services and so get your proposals in, get them in. I know I did want to ask Mason, one of the things that came up, and I'm not sure if we have enough time, but the treatment center I saw is on the agenda on Wednesday. Any updates on that? I know we talked about it, and there has been a lot of questions about that. Anything new or anything you can tell us before Wednesday?
Sure. Yeah, and this has been, I don't know how many, almost a generation or more of work in progress.
17 years. 17 years.
17 years. Yeah. So to get the adolescent treatment center, up and running, and we knew that we would have some challenges getting a provider, but so it was quite a surprise for me to read the Civil Beat article. I knew based on the budget presentation that the adolescent treatment center was being moved, or Life's Choices was being moved towards the prosecutor's office. But I didn't know the details. So immediately when I read that article, I did make a request for, a briefing from the administration. At last week's meeting, though, our managing director was able to at least clue us into the direction. And the main question that we all had was, is it true? Are we gonna be giving up on the adolescent treatment aspect of what this was intended for? And the answer was no. That's not true. And I don't know the details of the current contract disputes or challenges. We will be hearing about that this week. But I think that at least the answer I got was, this is an empty building, and we need to look at ways that we can leverage this building in the most productive way. We're going to continue to seek out a contractor for this, is what I'm hearing, or at least the services that we initiated to with the intention of that building. So I think that's still alive. I know that many people in the community want it to continue. And so we'll hear more on Wednesday. It'll be an open session, at least some of what we're talking about right now. But some of it will probably be an executive session as it relates to any contractual issues.
All right. Well, that'll be your meetings are still physically closed, but you can it is streamed online, right?
That's correct. You can also provide testimony by Zoom now, or it might be another one of these platforms. I forget. It might be Microsoft Teams. I don't know. But there's a way, and the agenda will articulate how to do that. Or you can call in. We've had a lot of people call in the last 2 weeks and leave their testimony by message. So I think in some ways this is provided other opportunities for us to engage community. And I would encourage, people to, to participate, continue to participate, even though the doors are closed right now. There's way to engage with the council.
All righty. Anything? We're right at the 8 o'clock hour, Miss. And anything that you want to share with the viewers before we? I just want to thank you for being here tonight. I know you guys are all busy, and people want to hear from our leaders. So appreciate you being here.
No, I appreciate it too. Thank you for the opportunity again to come out. This is our new reality. Yeah, Zoom meetings all day, and so, but to have some time, to get messages out as much as possible is really key. And I think you said it earlier, both of you. It's like the only way we get out of this is together, and so we kind of talk about it. The actions gotta really follow suit, and so I want to thank everyone for not only keeping us safe throughout this whole ordeal, but keeping positive and looking for solutions and working together and picking people up when necessary and reaching out to people. I mean, everyone from our federal delegation, like I said, and our state representatives who have gotten, this funding here that we're about to administer to just help kickstart the economy is going to be big. And so, and then you folks being able to communicate it out there, everyone. Thank you so much. And yeah, I don't get, like I said, I don't get to see all the meetings, but I try and catch them even on the replay whenever I can.
Yeah, a lot of people have told us they just, they get their information here. We're flattered and we're honored. But we will be bringing back all of the council candidates starting next week. Next week, Monday, for the whole week. We will have four council candidates every night for 15 minutes apiece, and we get to hear from them for 10 minutes, and then we'll have some question and answer for 5 minutes. So the schedule will be coming out shortly. We're waiting for a few more people, and if you're watching and you didn't respond because we need to get you on. Aside from that, Charlie, you want to share with us about the testing one more time, just so that people know?
Sure. Okay, on the 24th, Wednesday, testing by Dr. T, or Doctors of Waikiki, have so graciously agreed to come up here, and they will be at the Malamapono, which is the old Kauai Athletic Club at the Kukui Grove. But you need to apply online first. So again, you need to apply online. Go to Doctors of Waikiki. There'll be several boxes right from the get-go. Look for the one that says COVID-19 testing, Wednesday, November 24th. And then everything else is self-explanatory. Having said that, I'd like to extend my deepest appreciation to you, Mason. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. I appreciate it. And thank you for giving the information out, because we got a lot of people that, aside from COVID, was really concerned about our economic recovery here on island. We know that it's going to take a lot. There's so much moving parts in this big machine, and everything is, basically like a machine that one will depend on the other, and that if something breaks down, then the entire machine will break down. So we all got to do our part. For our viewers out there, thank you so much for joining us again. Thank you for joining Mel and I. I'd like to say thank you for, just feeding us the questions. I hope that we were able to get to some of them. We didn't get to all of them, but there are a lot of questions tonight. But again, keep actively engaged, whatever you do. Because if you, like they always say, hey, participate, no grumble. Yeah, you participate, then you get all the right in the world for grumble if you don't get the right answers. But if you don't participate, just no grumble. That's it
Right.
now.
All right, so don't forget kawaiforward.com. Go check out the RFPs, submit your applications in, help get that money out to our local businesses, local people. Also, doctorsofwaikiki.com. Dr. T and his crew will be here. Thanks again to Malama Pono for offering their clinic. And I see someone said their doctor didn't give them a paper. You don't need a doctor's paper. Let's get
No,
that clear. You don't need a doctor's paper
don't
because
need it.
Dr. T really is a doctor and he will give you the clearance. So everybody that wants a test will get a test. Okay, again, insurance covers. You pay the copay, $20. If you don't have insurance, you want to get the test, it's $49.99. That's tax included. So bring $50 if you don't have insurance.
There are two different
Yeah.
type of tests now. Let them know that two different types.
Yep, it'll be an antibody test, and that's what you'll get. If you test positive for the antibody, then they will do the nasal swab. So anyway, if you got any questions, call Doctors of Waikiki. They can answer your questions, but get to their site and register. A lot of you guys have been asking for this for a long time, and we finally was able to get him here. So take advantage. He's here only for that one day. Aside from that, again, Mason, thank you very much. Stay safe, all of you guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow night with Mayor Kawakami and Nalani Brune. You guys all take care. God bless. And
Wait,
aloha no.
no more the song. What happened? What about the song?
Oh man,
You gonna do it?
Charles.
Well, let me go see if I got another.
I came out for the song.
Okay, hang on. Okay.
Well, no, tell Mason sing too.
Yeah, you're gonna have to join us, Mason. You're gonna have to join us.
Shadow said he can sing.
I know he can sing. I heard him sing. Well, you know, Charlie conveniently left his guitar at Kalaheo Steakhouse, but look, looks like he has a second.
Really?
He got him back up. Oh my God. You know the story, right, Mason? You know the story. We just try to get people to flatten the curve. You know, we tried for a long time. We told the chief to deputize us to be COVID cops so we could go out and catch the bad guys and force them to stay with us 24 hours. That didn't work. Now we tell the people, if you cannot flatten the curve, then we will flatten your ear. So Charles, take it away, buddy. Mason, jump in. Come on. Hey, he's supposed to join us. All right, everybody. Good night. We love you guys. God bless. See you tomorrow night. Aloha.